So, guys, welcome back for another episode of the Red Line Hustle podcast. And today I am pleased to have Aneesh on the show. He is a social guru, in my opinion. I kept seeing your Instagram posts, and you have put together some extremely engaging content. So, Aneesh, I'll leave the floor to you. Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. So first off, thanks for having me on the show. A little bit about me. I started up this company called the Wishley Group last June, so 2022. It's a sales and marketing consulting company. But before that, I mean, I've been in sales for like 17 plus years. Worked at Pinterest most recently.
Okay.
My career, I've closed about $50 million in high ticket B2B enterprise sales. So, taking that knowledge, working with marketers and sales to help the little guy out. So, we help small, medium sized companies scale out their businesses by focusing on sales, marketing, and community. So, that's a little bit about me.
Don't know what happened there. But you was on sales and marketing. We help small business, the little guys, and I'll edit this out. Don't worry.
Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah, it cut out for a second. I
Oh,
don't know.
shit. My
Is
bad.
it?
Yeah, so I'll repeat that part. So yeah, we help the little guys out. We help small, medium sized businesses scale out their revenue engines by focusing on sales, marketing, and community efforts. So that's a little bit about what I do right now.
And why did you get into it? What from being a corporate stable job, you've probably got a good salary coming in. Why would you go into risky waters and
Yeah,
become
honestly, like leaving Pinterest was a tough one, man. I'll be real. Like it was $250,000 job, really good team, really good benefits. You know those tech startups, like every they, free lunches, all that. Like everything was great. And
Mhm.
some of my friends still date like, these, you're on crack. Like, why would you leave that cushy job? You made it to a
Yeah.
tier one social media agency, and I was like, it got to a point where when I got to Pinterest, I was one of the few reps, or I think I was the only rep at the time to hit quota 3 quarters in a row. And I was there for only a year. And I remember looking at my account manager, and when I broke the news to her as well that I was going to leave, she's like, "Anish, why are you leaving? Like everything's great. Your customers love you. You're hitting all your numbers." And I was like, it was just getting dull pitching the same deck over and over again. And I
Yeah.
remember we did this big campaign with a luxury retailer, and it got it got really interesting because we crushed it. We took dollars from Facebook. They gave
Mhm.
it to us for this pilot, and we were their best campaign by far. And when they
Mhm.
told me, I was like, "That's cool." I was nodding, but didn't really do anything for me. And then simultaneously, I've always had side hustle clients, just helping people on the side or whatever.
Mhm.
And I had that person come up to me and say, "Hey, Niche, your ideas for sales and marketing helped me get money to pay for my kids' braces." And that right away gave me a completely different line of fulfillment. Like I felt so
Mhm.
much more fire from the second conversation where I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, I've done the B2B enterprise thing for quite some time. Let me go like scratch this entrepreneurial itch, go help the
Mhm.
small medium guys out. And that's sort of what led me to building out my business from June 2022.
That is really cool, dude. And I think that is what it is. It becomes very dull, becomes very boring. You do get into that 9 to 5 rat race, as they always say. And
Yeah.
no harm or nothing bad about anybody that is in that realm or is in that environment. But there are some, I think you are probably the same as me, dominant, visionary, very creative, ambitious. You want to push the needle forward. And then more importantly, when you actually get recognition, genuine recognition for your own work, not a companies that you work for, it kind of hits a different place in terms of emotional fulfillment. So that's really interesting. What was the trigger in terms of, so that, well, I guess the trigger was that piece.
Yep.
Your ideas helped me with pay for the braces. Was there anything like really impactful though that you learned at Pinterest that kind of gave you just that spark of confidence, other than hitting your numbers to take the leap, other than those other things, the other drivers you mentioned?
Yeah, totally. And it's not just Pinterest. Like I've worked at some awesome companies in the past, and I've worked on some of the biggest, name brands and retailers and CPG companies and all that fun stuff out there. So to be able to play with, let's call it Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies,
Hmm.
convince multi-billion dollar CMOs to spend money with me, that to me is like the highest level in media sales, at least, that I could have gone.
Mhm. Yeah.
So for me to do that in my 20s and my early 30s, I was like, you know what, I do have some of that like track record
Mhm.
to go in and at least say, okay, I can sell.
Yeah.
That's something like you need to, and I've done it at some of the best companies and best brands out there. So it's one of those things where it's like, if I didn't have that track record for myself, it'd be hard for me to go tell somebody how to do something or give my perspectives on something. Then I'm just another guy with an opinion. I'm not a professional as a consultant. And I think we both have our fair shares of folks who like, who are you to give me this opinion? You know, when people just start, like you've done nothing in our space. All you do is complain. Like you're just, negative Nancy type and everything's bad. Like I have enough of those people in my life. Thank you. But like when
Yeah.
it comes to being a professional and going and evaluating a situation that I've already done
Yeah.
and saying, hey, your pitch deck is absolute trash. Like we need to fix this, 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 this.
Mhm.
I can say that because I've done that a billion times. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you need to have some credibility. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big discerning moment for me.
I think that's a really good one. That was it for me. I worked in, so my convincer was I was always in delegate sales, running events, corporate events, financial events. And then I went into like a boiler room shop, and that I was selling a conference in Shanghai, China.
Right.
And dude, it was semiconductors. I had to speak to Chinese and Japanese companies, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck these guys are talking about with IDCs and fabs and foundries and all this shit. It was such it was so annoying, and I couldn't sell. Like I'm very articulate, and I wasn't at my best at that point, but I never sold anything in that first 6 months. The seventh month, I closed my first 10K deal. And then my boss was like, "Hey, look, you're a big joker. We love you and everything. You're really funny, but if you don't start making some real money, we're gonna have to get rid of you because 7 months and 10K does not cover your wage." So long story short, a position opened up at one of the other teams, and I got into oil and gas sales. So corporate oil and gas sales, selling to service providers that wanted to reach the EPCs. And when I was helping bridge that gap, and I was able to speak to the CMO of Baker Hughes, the CMO of Weatherford, the CMO of Schlumberger. Those were big names. Those were huge convincers for me. And after that, I just shot off. And that was where in 2017, oil and gas was shit. Dead, 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 dead beyond belief. And I was able to
Right.
grow the division from 0 to 500,000 inside 2 years. And I'd never done any type of sales like that before. So that was really big for me. Now, one of the biggest failures in that was I started and I would just push demos with no context. And one of the guys that was helping me on some of the demos, he sat on it and I didn't prepare him well. The woman, I just pushed it, hey, do you want to have a meeting? She had no idea what the meeting was about. And he fucking flipped out on me in front of the sales floor.
Oh wow.
And I was like, dude, I done 3 years inside in New Jersey. I will fuck you up, bro. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I said, look, I expect an apology. I'm going to try to manage this in a very calm, collected way, but I expect an apology. Don't do that again. And he said, no. And I was like, excuse me?
Wow.
So, yeah, he was a fucking prick. But, anyways, after that, I kind of that was a really big eye-opening moment for me. As much as it was shit, it kind of taught me a lot. Like, don't waste anybody's time. Make sure you find out a little bit more. And then as my years went by, and it came to, hey, look, are you ready to do this? That kind of statement to close business became more. I had more conviction and belief in it. That gave me the confidence to make a huge amount of jumps. So for you, are there any big moments in your career where you recognized a huge failure, but out of that failure, you got a huge learning?
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was I was working at this company called Flip at the time, and I was an account executive on the team. And one of my biggest learnings was I'd started taking over this new retailer relationship, but a big principle at Flip, because we're underdog. A lot of people don't know who we are.
Mhm.
We're going up against the likes of Google and Facebook for marketing dollars. So
Oh, wow.
we needed this tight communication uh, within the team. So visibility was a big deal. And for whatever reason, I still don't know why I didn't do it. I just started messaging the new relationship, the new client directly, but I never
Mhm.
copied the rest of the team. And that's a really big best practice because I was still new, I was in training, but I just started doing, going for the sale. And it got to a point where my supervisor found out that I was having all these conversations without her visibility.
Mhm.
And first time ever in my career, we're at the Chicago airport O'Hare. And before we get to the airport, like we're getting out of the taxi or whatever, and she's like, Anish, I don't think I can trust you. And I was like, whoa, whoa, what's going on? It's the first time in my entire career that someone like in a leadership position's ever told
Mhm.
me they cannot trust me. And it was a humbling moment for me. She goes, like, we've specifically asked you to copy us. We've reminded you from time to time. You just keep doing doing this thing, like we're a team effort here. You got to be able to play ball. And I was like, holy smokes. She goes, yeah, like the project management follow up, like how are we supposed to keep the standard of excellence that we have with client X if
Mhm.
we can't keep an eye on what's going on, right? You haven't earned enough stripes to go do that solo yet. And I was
Okay.
like, holy smoke. So that was it was one of those things that was a wake up call for me to be more self aware with my
Mhm.
environment. And like, no matter how good you are in one place, when you come to a new spot, you have to earn your stripes with the team that you're around. So
Mhm.
I ended up very quickly turning the situation around and actually became a better project manager than I ever thought I would be. And a lot of people don't realize this in sales. It's not just being able to give a nice presentation, your
Mhm.
ability to stay organized, follow up, project manage, that type of stuff is what sets the good reps from the great ones. And
Mhm.
that is something that I never was coached on or some nobody ever gave visibility to me on. So that
Mhm.
that that failure on my part had led to me being so much more self-aware on the little details
Mhm.
that truly transcended my career. I'd say for like ever since that point, I've changed as a sales rep. So that was definitely a big transformation moment for me.
And what about like, so you touched on a point just before on coaching. So you were never coached in a few areas. I was never coached in my entire sales career other than second voicing, which I'm sure you know is a fucking pain in the absolute arse. Like somebody speaking over you, say this, say this, say this, say this, and then getting angry when you're not able to follow it while the other person's speaking is kind of absurd. Um, so for you, with that in mind, with coaching, what was your go-to source to develop as a sales rep when you didn't have it from the company itself?
Yeah, so I started following folks on LinkedIn. I'm part of a lot of LinkedIn sales communities myself. I started
Mhm.
posting content on LinkedIn with my own journey, and through that, when you do one of those three things, if not all of them,
Mhm.
you start interacting with folks that are trying to push the envelope when it comes to new ways to sell. Right? So you've got your average salesperson that's, doing the smile and dial bullshit, like the same
Mhm.
old hello, hi. And I did my 50 dials, but um, they're not intentional. But when
Yeah.
you're in the LinkedIn sales ecosystem and you're seeing there's like people with courses, there's mentorships, there's like full out folks who've done so much
Mhm.
amazing things in sales. They built from zero to, $1 billion. When you start learning from those folks, and you realize the rest of your organization is not, you start getting an advantage on your own approach to sales. You start trying new things, experimenting new things. You start focusing on things like tonality, how
Mhm.
you deliver messages, all those little things. And they all add up. They all add up. So for me, I started going on LinkedIn, learning from the
Mhm.
best, and then adapt and try and you have to try to get your style down,
Yep.
but I wouldn't even know what to try unless I actually went and sought out that information. And for me, it was in the LinkedIn sales community.
And how did you filter out like the bullshit that came your way? Because there's a lot of people, like I know personally, some people that are posting shit right now, and they've never done those actions.
That's
Fuck.
fair, man. I honestly, there's a bit of it where you take a look at their profile, you see the things that they've accomplished, but then you see the people that are supporting, like, oh yeah, so and so, yeah, I was there for that. Like they
Mhm.
sort of edify the
Yeah.
people that are posting. Then you
Yeah.
have some people who I'm like, this person has never worked a sales job, or they have like there's nothing there's like they've done like some call center shit for like
Yeah.
6 months, and nothing against the call. If you've been a call center expert for 15 years, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
But if you've been there for 6 months as a co-op intern, unless that's the audience you're connecting with, hey, for all other co-ops, but don't come in saying you're a sales expert when you haven't done sales more than a year, right? Um, so that leads to a whole other issue. Like we're very clickbaity people in general. Just society has gone that way. But I'm the type to actually like double click and like go deeper on something and be like, okay, what is this person? Where is this person actually from? What have they done? Right now, there's part of it where if it logically sounds good, like, oh, I should probably try framework X or email X or cold call X. I'll go
Mhm,
try it, and if it works, I'm like, oh, this person's a real deal.
mhm.
That's the other half of it, right? You can't just judge everything on the internet, but you have to also try. So I always bake in time in my schedule to actually try new things, and if it works, great. But if not, then I'm like, maybe it's me or maybe it's the source. I don't know. So that's the piece that you just gotta stay cautiously skeptical on. Yeah.
Who are your top 3 right now on LinkedIn
Oh
you
my
would
god, this
recommend to
is
follow?
best 3 people to follow for sales. You got
Yep,
Kevin Dorsey, aka
okay,
KD. He's one of the best.
yep,
Morgan Ingram. He's incredible when it comes to sales and content production. And then the third one, sort of a tie between Sam McKenna and Jennifer Allen Knuth. Um, they're all four of those people are like just gem of gem human beings, but also people I've gotten to know and work with. And man, like, do they know their shit inside out. Like they know everything about sales when it comes to getting people's attention, closing deals, maintaining relationships, being good leaders, all of it. They all four of them hit home on that.
and do you have any that you're like your go-to sources on YouTube?
YouTube. I actually haven't gone on the sales front on YouTube at all. So if you got names for me on YouTube, I'd be game. But I've just gotten so deep on the LinkedIn sales side, man. Like that's I don't have time to go hit up everyone else. I've just recently started posting kind of Instagram. I think that's how you and I came
Yeah.
across.
It looks like you've been doing it for years, though. Your Instagram content, you look like you're producing the stuff that they're doing.
Oh no, Instagram I'm doing like for maybe 4 or 5 months max.
All right,
Max.
so where did you learn how to do that? Because you've got crisp content, crisp camera. You've got the subtitles down perfectly. Or is there specific software? What's a good quick tip for somebody
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
into
So
doing this?
I started following this guy named Ryan Pineda. Um,
Okay,
Probably last year, last
okay,
October, last November, and he had this wealthy creator program. I was like, I want to learn what this guy's doing. So I kept seeing Alex Hormozy style talking head videos where he just talks and gives
yeah,
advice. I'm like, I could probably do this for sales. I've been doing this long enough and I've worked on some sexy accounts and all that. Why not? I've
yeah,
always been good with the mic and always been good on camera from what I've been told, but I've
hmm,
never actually done it. And
yeah, yeah,
there is an art and a science combined to do it. So I
exactly.
joined the wealthy creator program,
Hmm.
which is Ryan Pineda's program. I learned some of the basics there, and then I just started again. You just got to go do.
Yeah,
There's tons of caption video editors out there. Like if you're ready to make an investment in your business, by all means. And it's been just off Instagram alone. I mean, I've gotten a lot of great leads and business opportunities and even things like this, speaking engagements.
hmm,
But the biggest thing is like now I take some of my best performing content and I'm putting it on LinkedIn where I have like way more followers
yeah.
than Instagram. So now I'm like multi-purposing the content across multiple channels. So yeah.
Mate, I think it's solid. You're doing a solid job on there. So on the YouTube front, the reason why I mentioned YouTube is
Mm.
because yeah, Alex Hormozy caught my attention after Patrick Bet David. Do you follow Patrick Bet David?
I'm in one of his masterminds actually with PBD. So he's Patrick Bet David's one of the most insanely amazing people you could ever follow.
So dope. When he was doing his whiteboard sessions, that's when first started picking up to it. And then my wife was like, "You look like him a little bit," and then that catch me up
There,
a bit,
oh shit, I
right?
see it a little bit now. Okay, I see a little bit.
I
Okay.
think it's the nose, right? The nose with the fat
It's
nose at
the
the
nose. It's the nose. Yeah,
bottom.
yeah. I see it.
And then, so that was really good. And then obviously what he moved into when he rented out, what he built a proper the vault he's in is a proper vault,
Yep.
but the content is dope. And then what was it? My first million by Shan Puri. I don't know if you know who he is. Oh my god, dude, he's down with the brown community. He is the illest one on there right now. He does it with Sam Parr. He did a what was it, Milk Road, I think it was, a cryptocurrency
Yeah,
newsletter.
yeah.
He sold 200 million. That's him, Shampuri. Sam
Damn.
Parr is on the podcast with him, and Sam Parr sold The Hustle for 100 million to HubSpot. So
Right.
they both had the CEO and co-founder of HubSpot on there. They have some huge guests, but the conversation is so so relaxed. It's exactly what I'm trying to build in
Right.
terms of the right type of following here. Stephen Bartlett, I'm sure you know the Diary of a
Yep.
CEO. Andy Frisella, he's incredible, and Alex Hormozy, yeah. I'm reading 100 million leads right now. Those guys for me are the go-to sources, and it's kind of what drove me here. So, in terms of a big win, I like doing this because one thing about sales is big money, big advancement in your career. You don't have to stick around for 3, 4 years twiddling your thumbs at every single job. You can literally go fast. And one of the biggest wins I ever had was I was able to be flown out to Cannes on the CEO and business owner's private yacht. He's the sixth richest man in the UK. And that was huge. It was
Right.
absolutely huge, right? And I wanted more of that, but to own it myself. So for you, what would you say if you could pinpoint one big win that really set the bar high for you? What would you say that would have been?
Yeah, I've always done like the presidents clubs and all those fun things. Like for me, my win's actually a little bit different, man. And maybe not everyone would agree with this one, but since I left Pinterest, to start my own company, like we've had a really good year. We
Mhm,
just hit the 1 year mark, and being the solopreneur on that, I have some contractors and stuff I work with, but
mhm.
like 90% of that revenue comes to me.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where we clear we did it. We had a really good year, and I was able to take my mom to. We went to this mall, this like luxury mall,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you've dealt with this before, but sometimes when people that look like us go into some of these nice places, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?" Right? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I took my mom and my dad, and I think it was with my brother. No, my mom, my dad, my wife. We walked into the Versace store.
Mhm.
And I just remember the look that the sales associate, whatever, so judgmental. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
They
me
looked at
too.
us, being like, "Okay, yeah, you're here to browse, whatever, right?" So, my mom, I didn't personally like the sales associate too much, but my mom saw this like beautiful, like like $2,000-3,000 purse or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, niche, there's no way we can buy this. What are you doing? What are you?" I'm like, "Mom, like." She still thinks that like it's like the old days, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"No, no, no, things are good, things are good." And she's like, "No, no, no, I can't." So I remember we went around the mall. I was like, "Maybe there's something else you'll like. Maybe there's something else you'll like."
yeah.
And then at the end of it, she's like, "Ah, that stuff's nice, the Chanel thing, but that one Versace per." I'm like, "Ma, let's go get it. Let's go get it." She goes, "What? What? What?" I'm like, "No, don't worry. It's your early birthday present." I have never seen my mom run that fast in my life, dude. Like
That's so cool.
she ran, and then we walked in, and I looked at that same sales assistant. I'm like, "Yeah, we'll take it, thanks." And they're like, "Oh, sir, thank you." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up. Just pack your fucking bag, man." I was like, don't give me this like now I'm your best friend look. But um, the look on my mom's face and just being able to do that without even blinking an eye,
Mhm.
you know, I know it's only a couple grand for a purse or whatever, but for me to do that for my mom was like a huge. That was like ultimate, for me to do that. Um, I've never felt so fired up for that, and and I continuously get to spoil my friends and family now because
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, money's good, right? Like,
Yeah.
we live in a penthouse here in Toronto. Like things are nice, and it's just those are the wins, that the life experiences piece that you get to do with your friends and family, man. Like that to me is where like the ultimate win is right now.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, and I think also what I believe in our culture too, like doing that thing for your mom and your dad, and being able to show them, like, look, mom, I'm all right now, and I can support myself, which is what they all ultimately want, but I can also do nice things for you when I want to, and I think that's one of the reasons I started a business too, because when I was employed, it was paycheck to paycheck, especially in London. Cost of living is ridiculous.
Madness.
And it's unreal. And my dad typically spent a lot of money on bailing me out of jail and prison and stuff like that, or paying for rehabs. I went through a hell of a journey when I was in America. So now for me, the first one was showing them I could make money by myself. And now the second, what I'm leading towards too, is I think I've been quite selfish, but to be able to do that, I think would be the next pinnacle moment in my career. So it brings us to like the next point, which is consistency, and a number of things help me drive my success: execution, staying consistent, repetitive actions, being very resilient. I told you I've been through a lot of ups and downs.
Mhm.
For you though, if you were to give one piece of advice in terms of consistent actions that you would have told Anish a long time ago when you was 18, what would that consistent action be?
Oh, that's a good one, man. I think for me, I reflect on this a lot. It's like I wish I was addicted to learning sooner.
Yeah,
There's something really, I know that sounds a little cliche, but like when you're in high school, I don't know
agree.
if you're like me, like I was just like memorizing shit for this. I was just going to
Yeah.
class for the sake of going to class. Mom
Mhm.
and dad wanted me to get into university or college, whatever. So you're like, oh, I gotta hit like I
Yeah,
just it
A's
was
and
very,
B's.
very transactional, right?
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me like, hey Niche, like what did you actually learn in history class or English class or whatever, I couldn't tell you in a very like I'd give you the high level bullshit and be like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm off to drink with the guys. You know, like
Yeah.
it was, or you're talking for me. I was like, oh, maybe I'm watching sports or going to
Mhm.
football, whatever, right? But like, I know this lesson now in my 30s, being like, and I learned this like mid
No,
20s.
it's
It
funny
really hit me
story.
mid 20s, where I'm like, I wish I loved learning, and I wish I was aware of how I can learn. Because as a human being, we have different ways we learn. Some
Mhm.
people need to do shit to learn something. Some people need to read it. Some people need to see someone do it on a video or whatever. If you become self-aware as soon as possible, for anyone
Mhm.
listening on this episode, the sooner you're aware of how you learn and you have to like force yourself to be like I need to keep learning. That
Mhm.
is what's going to keep transcending you in your career, because otherwise you get complacent. And I'll give you two examples, right?
Mhm.
When crypto and NFTs came out, there was a whole bunch of people who were like, "Oh, f that. That's a JPEG image worth 300." But I know people who've made millions of dollars trading that shit. I just shied away from it, being like, and I was like, if I had gotten into that instead of and learn, right,
Mhm.
that curiosity, if I just didn't deflect everything, I might be way richer than I am now. And then the other thing was, now you see AI and Chat GPT coming in, and I know a
Mhm.
lot of people are just waiting until someone teaches them. But if
Yep.
you don't have that insatiable curiosity to go learn it for yourself, that's the only way you're going to get ahead of the game, right? You got to zig when everyone else zags, but that's fueled by your desire to want to keep learning. So if I had to go back to my 18-year-old self, I would be like, do everything else that you're doing, but please, please, please love learning, because you're going to fail in life otherwise.
I agree. That was the one thing that got me out of an idle mind is the most dangerous mind, is what they all said. And when I got my spanking in 2011, I had 3 years to really reflect. And that was when I took the first book on, which was Rich Dad Poor Dad. So if anybody
Mhm.
wants to start your journey about entrepreneurship or business owners of property, that was the driver for me. Then it came Napoleon Hill. And after a couple of years of getting my reading up, I was thrown into a security job and I was reading there. And you couldn't really dive in deep into a book when you're doing a 15-hour shift at a fucking site. So I ended up taking on Audible. And then I
There you
found
go.
out that Audible, even if you play it at 1.5, 2x, sometimes even 3x, 3x is a bit outrageous, but your brain can actually comprehend and understand at that speed, even if you don't hear all the words.
Right,
And the biggest hack was to put it on 2x. And then I found out Amazon had the Kindle slash Audible combination.
right,
And the words light up when you're doing it. So you're like, "Brrr," and you don't realize like your eyes and your brain process information faster than you can read. So for me, that was like a fucking huge growth hack. And then as I got further and further into it, I think this year I've got 53 books under me. And
wow, already.
dude, because I can read a book, a 7-hour book in what? We're 9 months, 10 months
Yeah,
in. I can
yeah,
read a
yeah.
7-hour book in three
Good
and a half
for you,
hours
man.
or three, and I listen to it in the car if I'm here by myself. Now separated, so I can listen to even more books. But that and YouTube, I wish I got more in terms of like taking advantage of YouTube now because the visual element is huge. So
Yeah.
look, I agree. Learning is going to be massive. What is your go to method then? That's why I said that. What is your go to method for learning right now?
Oh yeah, no, it's everything we talked about. Like right behind me, I don't know if you can see, I got a bunch of books. Like I
Yep.
actually like to spend time going deeper into the book. So like if there's a concept like from Made to Stick or even Alex Hormozzi's at my bedside or
Mhm.
whatever it is, right? Like I like to revisit chapters. Like so, I'll take some time reading a book, not for the sake of reading it, but like actually being like, okay, I did module one. How can I apply module one? How is it linked to module two? So I tend to map it out.
Mhm.
So I'm a bit of a slow burn, so to
Mhm.
speak, but
Mhm.
I go deeper with the content, and then I'll go into supplemental content as well to make sure I truly understand one thing I got to focus on to move me 10 steps ahead, right? Instead of one step ahead at a time. And then YouTube, I occasionally will see things, but from the LinkedIn sales community wise, like I spend so much time going through the LinkedIn posts and content, like that's where I get a lot of my content, and then
Mhm.
I do have like mentors and coaches where I spend the balance of the time that I've got allotted for self development. I spend with
Yeah.
like the Patrick Bet David Mastermind, huge,
Okay.
right? If you're interested, I can put you in touch with some folks if you want to join that. Then there's like other Kevin Dorsey, Morgan Ingram. I'm in their stuff as well, so I keep learning from all those people.
Those are some serious hacks. So, what would you say then, as we come to the end of it? One thing I like for people to get from the show is like immediate execution, immediate
Mhm.
results.
Yeah,
So, some of the things we've gone through on immediate results is validation of leads, in terms of validating the channels. So that's beyond verification. That's beyond putting it in unbounce. It's actually checking to see how responsive that contact is on LinkedIn, email, or phone. So they usually follow a Pareto principle. I'm sure you have you seen Phone Ready Leads by Ryan Reiser online yet?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I know Ryan too. So it's similar to that principle, but apparently it's the guys who worked on it originally together with him. Cloud Lead, another data vendor I use. They've helped me speed up outreach significantly,
Mhm.
massively. Another growth hack for me was business performance coaches. It was the most expensive coaching of my life, but in terms of tweaking small things, in terms of processes and implementing systems, that helped us go from we did about 30, 40, 50, 30, 40,000 in the year. And from September, my daughter was going to be born in December of that year. From September to November, we did £300,000 in revenue.
Right.
And that was from little tweaks in learning how to work from somebody experienced. So that was huge for me. What would you say in today is a growth hack, is a wormhole people can really leverage to get immediate results or start their journey towards those results?
Yeah, so from a sales specific silo, I've got two. I'll give one for the sales specific, and then for anyone else that's in sales but like gives me that common excuse, Anish, I don't have time. I'll have one to address that.
Yeah.
So the first one is for those that like to cold email, which is most people on this episode, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you have not warmed up domains and all that type, if you don't even know what I mean by warming up domains,
Mhm.
that means you're sending all your emails from one domain right now.
Yeah.
Google and Outlook just in the last 6 to 12 months have upgraded their spam filters because they're getting too many complaints.
Yeah.
So if you're sending things from one domain, chances are all that personalized research and email you're putting in isn't even reaching people in their primary inbox. So one of the things that you need to think about as a growth hack is there's a tool called clay.run. Check it out. And what clay.run does is it essentially connects all of your lead data, AI to write up all your cold emails. And then it also connects with tools like Smart Lead, where you can go warm up a bunch of different domains and operate out of a master inbox. So you can have 20 domains that are warmed up and sending out all these emails instead
Mhm.
of one email that you can send. People send 50 to 100 a day. You're getting spammed. Like you're gonna get spam blocked for sure.
Yeah.
You're getting flagged by all these people. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to warming domains and things like that, you must look into those things and hit me up directly if that's something of interest because I work with some partners who can really help you.
Mhm.
But if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now on cold emails and warming up domains and multiple domains and all that, you are already behind the eight ball when it comes to cold email.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree. And I just literally got my setup done with Jesse. I also use another platform from the co founder of Reply.io. So, just to give a little bit more visibility and transparency on what you mean by that, do you mean Shane at company.com, Mike at company.com, or do you mean Shane at company.com, Shane at company.co,
Shane
Mike?
at company.co, like the second
Okay.
one. And you work
Uh,
with Jesse O as well?
yeah, dude. Look, I've been doing this for a while now. So
Yeah.
Me and Jesse were on the phone for about 2, 3 hours the other night. Bear in mind, it was the first time we've actually spoken on the phone. But I've been part of the pirate community now for what, the past year and a half.
I'm in there too. I don't know if I've seen you in there, but yeah, no, I
Yeah, I'm in
that's
there.
awesome. That's
I just posted a very controversial post yesterday about an old employee who's gonna get some serious heat from me. But dude,
that's awesome.
that point, yeah, that point on email domain warming. I would also, the sponsor of the show, Send Now. They are definitely a go-to player for email. And Clay, that's by Eric, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure it's Eric. So Clay.run is a really good way to link up all your tools in one place.
yeah.
I've used the tool a few times, and I'm like, wow, the way these guys can connect to every part of your top of funnel is phenomenal. So definitely give that a go for sure.
All right. Well, look, that's definitely insightful. So, where can people find out more about you other than Instagram? Where is the go-to place for Anish?
Yeah. So besides Instagram, which is Anish_L or Sales with Anish, that's a new page I'm starting up. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the number one spot actually, where you can get tapped into the LinkedIn ecosystem, see what I'm talking about, see what everyone's talking about. But
Mhm.
yeah, Anish Lal, LAL, on LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
No doubt. Well, look, Anish, thank you very much. I really appreciate you jumping on today. And until next time, guys, like, share, subscribe if you like this, and we'll see you again for another episode next week. Thank you, dude. Just stay on for 1 minute and then